Okay, so Tigers got swept. Astros got a second sweep in a row. We are on a 8-game win streak now. 8 games, two more, and we 10 games. We're back into double-digit win streaks. We're playing the Red Sox, though, and they're really hot right now as well. So it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult. So I honestly don't know if we're gonna be able to do it. But you know what? We're hot. We just beat up on two really weak teams, the Rangers and the Tigers. Now we're gonna actually have an opponent that's a worthy opponent, as you may say. But and right when they're heating up, so it was like not we didn't even get to face them whenever they were struggling. Nope, we're facing them as they're heating up. This will be a good test for the Astros. This is a series that I'd be interested in. But until then, we got a good series to break down. We got the Astros sweeping the Tigers, getting an 8-game win streak. We got George Springer's inside the park home run. We got George Springer again snagging a home run. We got Verlander pitching in Detroit his against his old team. We got uh we got a really good series on our hands. It's another thing where the Astros did pretty well. There's a lot in the articles, but it's more towards the Tigers and Verlander than it is towards what all happened in the game, even though we did pretty good in the game. Okay, so let's get on to it. Okay, so in the first game, no scoring in the first inning. George Springer didn't get a leadoff homer, but got 3 runs in the second inning. And Detroit got their one and only run at the bottom of the fourth. At the top of the seventh, the Astros got 2 more runs to make it 5-1, and then 3 more runs to end it at 8-1. With the Astros got 11 hits, and the Tigers got 5. The Tigers, honestly, they've had struggling bats. They've had struggling hitting. This isn't that surprising. This was something that Detroit fans were kind of expecting. I mean, as soon as this game ended, a Tigers fan, fan, he just he texted me, yeah, we getting swept. So yeah, this isn't surprising to even Tigers fans. Well, and from I think the stadium wasn't even that filled, especially with what one of the articles say. Now, game two is a bit more exciting. This is where the inside the park home run went with George Springer. I'm pretty sure this was another leadoff homer. The thing George Springer is the best at. We got 3 runs at the top of the first, 3 runs at the top of the second, 1 run at the top of the third. To before the Tigers even get a single run in, well, the Astros already got 7 runs. The Tigers ended up making it 7-1, and then at the fourth inning, the Astros got another run in, making it 8-1. Then the Tigers got another one, making it 8-2. Astros got another one, 9-1. And then in sixth, got another run, making it 10-1. A double-digit run. The Tigers ended up getting 2 at the bottom of the sixth. And then they were talking about how the Tigers are back in this game and blah. I remember the announcer saying that, and I'm like, ha, no. They also said at the bottom of the third, the Tigers ended up 4 runs, but they also got 7 hits, so that's pretty good. And yeah, no errors. The Astros ended up getting another run at the top of the 8th, making it 4. Astros got 14 hits with 11 runs, and the Tigers got 7 hits. They actually got 7 hits, and I think the hits they got in the series. Last game they got 5 hits. This one they got 7 hits. They did pretty decent with the hitting. They did have an error and in game 3 here. I think the one error might have been with the inside the park home run, which was amazing. Uh, Game 3, pretty emotional game for Tigers fans, especially. It was emotional for Verlander. This is the one Verlander pitched in. He did amazing. He allowed 2 hits after he was taken out. The relief pitchers didn't allow a single hit. The 2 hits were from Verlander. The one from Verlander, uh, but he still played a good game. He wasn't going any easier just because this was his old team. No, he played the way he normally does, and he did really well. It's just, yeah, it was very emotional for Tigers fans. It was emotional for Verlander. Um, Houston started off the game with a run, got us another run in the second, and then the Tigers got their run off of a homer from Verlander, and that's kind of when it looked like, uh, that's kind of when it looked like Tigers were going to fight back. It was 2-1. That was like the closest it's ever been. And at one point, I don't remember which inning. I'm just gonna say it now. Verlander allowed 2 walks in a row. Uh, and bases were loaded. It was 2 outs, and he somehow got out of that inning without letting another run. It was pretty amazing. Now the Astros do have an error. Detroit has 2 errors. The Astros got another run at the top of the fourth, a run in the top of the sixth, and then a run at the top of the eighth, ending it at 5. Uh, Astros got 8 hits. Tigers got 2 hits, and I already talked to you all about the errors. And the first thing when I typed in the Astros. I looked at the news spot, and it was Detroit that popped up. It's understandable, so you know what? I'm gonna read through it. It's got about the Astros as well, but I'm breaking out the series, and this is part of the series, so I gotta break this down. It's Verlander's second return against Detroit Tigers, kind of sad. Judging by the number of full stands Wednesday night by Comerica Park, judging by the warm yet subdued reaction to the return of the best pitcher this town has seen in the past 20 years. Last fall, when Justin Verlander pitched for the first time in Detroit as a Houston Astro, the former Cy Young winner was greeted as a kind of conquering hero. And while Verlander heard some cheers Wednesday night, that always is my dog cleaning himself. The whole affair felt and sounded like a regular May game between a visiting team and a World Series and a home team eyeing the future, the distant future. And this is Detroit saying me. And yeah, the stands really were that empty. Dang. Or I was more focused on the game. Yes. Justin Verlander pitches against the Tigers in the first inning with Comerica. Yeah, it was nice to see Verlander back in the mound at Comerica Park, even in a mostly empty stadium. To watch him scuff the dirt off the mound with his cleat to wind up and throw that effortless heat to mix in the off-speed pitches, especially that 80-mile-per-hour slider that throws down through the corner of the strike zone. To see a Hall of Famer at work. That's why fans showed up. I'm guessing, or most of them anyway. Not that they had much to cheer about in the Tigers' 5-1 loss. If anything, Verlander's presence reminded them of what they no longer have, and of what kind of baseball town this used to be. It's kind of sad, said Verlander. Most of my memories here, this ballpark was packed. Fans were rowdy, obviously a bit different now, but that comes with winning. Put a winning product on the field to show up. That's proven time and time again. Verlander wasn't taking aim at the organization to help make him a star. He was acknowledging it's hard to stay good forever. Time stills for no one.
Nothing against these guys, he said. I know they're grinding and playing the best baseball they can. He's not wrong. These Tigers do grind. They just don't have the talent. And the only star they have left is fading. Unlike Verlander, Miguel Cabrera hasn't found his mid-30s renaissance. He can't seem to stay healthy. He has a scratch Wednesday because of a sore knee. He's fighting history and biology for another. Outside sluggers rarely age. Outsized, yeah, and for all of Cabrera's all-time gifts, the hands, the feet, the balance, the eyes, his greatness relied on providing those sublime talents a nimble and towering frame. While that frame hasn't held up remarkably, Verlander has. But then this should be so surprising. Few pitchers threw triple digits so effortlessly. Sure, he was born with a golden arm, but his power always came from his legs. Even so, what made him great was that he could mix in all those pitches. That was evident against the Tigers. He changed speeds, uncorked the curve, tossed in the slider, and opened the throttle when he needed to. It was also easy, like he used to make it look when he wore the old English D. And then, other than a high inside fastball, that Jeb Cody Jones reached up and smacked into the left field seats, Verlander made few mistakes, if you can call that pitch a mistake. Kind of a tip your cat, he said to Jones. 406-foot shot. At 36 years old, Verlander is near the top of the American League in most of the important statistical categories. He's pitching as well as he ever has. He threw 101 pitches, 71 for strikes, and gave up 1 run on 2 hits over 7 innings. After he was finished and he walked to the dugout for the last time, he heard a few cheers. Light cheers. Still, it warmed his soul. Special, he said. From the folks who cheered for him while he warmed up in the bullpen, the folks who acknowledged him in the first inning, he noticed. He couldn't help it, because for all his ability to lock in and shut out the world, this will always be his first baseball home. Definitely still a bit nerve-wracking, he said, about pitching here, and exciting all at the same time. See, yes, he's an Astros right now, but honestly, I'm pretty sure in Verlander's head and to a lot of Tigers' minds, he's always a Tiger. And exciting all at the same time. The fans were fantastic, except the one guy in the first inning who was yelling, "You suck!" I swear to God, I heard this guy. I should probably focus a little bit more. As always, he was too hard on himself, and as he spoke to the media before his locker in the visitors' clubhouse, you could hear the anxiousness in his voice. He was cordial and thoughtful, too kind of like the crowd he was toward him, tipping their collective caps, as it were. Kind of like the crowd that was toward him. Yeah, the nice touch of melancholy. Verlander was right about that. And while his return for the second time didn't elicit the buzzy love it did last fall, that shouldn't be surprising either, for it's time to move on. Memory of the era is getting fuzzy. This was easy to see Wednesday, when 2 of the franchise's greatest players arrived at Comerica Park, one wearing a wrap on his knee, the other wearing a uniform of a team whose home is going a long way away. It's sad for the Tigers. Now on to Houston stuff. Orbit strips to his skeevies to celebrate Astros winning streak. Yes, the Houston Astros are on a winning streak. Justin Verlander took the mound in Wednesday's game. In only about 2 hits in 7 innings against his former team, the Detroit Tigers, the Astros took home a 5-1 win. And while the fans and players were all pumped, no one was as excited as the team's mascot, Orbit. Orbit stripped down to his skeevies and streaked across the field in an enthusiastic celebration of the team's 8th straight win. The Astros shared a video of the moment on the Twitter's page. And of course, the moment trumped play as the highlight of the game. The team is headed to Boston Wednesday for their first game against the Red Sox. This will be the first time facing the team since they knocked the Astros out of the series in 2018. Now, the possible ripple effect of Corbin Martin for the Houston Astros. After a bit of an uneven start to the season, not terrible, but not world champion material, really, the Houston Astros appear to have straightened things out and are proceeding to rip ass through the American League. Currently, they're running on an 11-1 streak in their last 12 games, at 8.2 runs per game during the stretch. In short, things are good. In a sense, the rich got even richer over the past week as the Astros sent Colin McHugh to the bullpen and called up Houston area native and former Texas A&M wrong college Corbin Martin from AAA Round Rock. Martin made his MLB debut on Sunday and pitched 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs and getting his first win as a big leaguer. The reviews of Martin were gushing, first from his catcher, Max Stassi. I thought he did amazing, catcher Max Stassi said of Martin. He's wise beyond his years, he's very level-headed, no highs, no lows. Obviously, he has the stuff to pitch here for a long time. It was very, very impressive, which is good news for the Astros, honestly, because pitching is where we need the most help in. If there was a knock on Martin in the minors, it was that he didn't miss enough bats. Hit 8.4 per 9. His 8.4 per 9 in Double-A last season doesn't align with the quality of his stuff. In his month in Triple-A to begin the season, he improved that number to 10.4 per 9. His pitch sequencing was an emphasis in spring training. Against the Rangers, he generated 10 swings and misses. His stuff is real, Astros manager AJ Hinch said, and his demeanor is very adaptive for someone who's only been in pro ball for a short period of time. So for a team that has found its stride and currently sits atop the sports standings, this is significant development, a possible solid rotation pitcher under club control for several more years. Sure, it's early. Martin pitches against the Red Sox this weekend, so this could all go sideways, which Red Sox are extremely hot right now. This will be a good test not for the Astros and a really, really strong test for Martin. I'm not sure I would have thrown him in against the Red Sox, but I trust AJ Hinch on this one. I won't be too harsh on him like I was with Brad Cox. However, let's pretend for a second that what we saw last Sunday against the Rangers was real, and that's going to be Martin going forward. Ripple effects are massive. Let's list them here. Amazingly, Keuchel is still sitting at home waiting to sign a deal in free agency. According to Keuchel, he's had offers that his agent Scott Boras has recommended he sign. However, Keuchel seems hell-bent on getting a certain market value, and he will not budge until he offers that in that neighborhood. I wish him luck. Reportedly, the Astros had been keeping in touch with him about a possible return to Houston for this season, but if Martin, along with Wade Miley and Brad Peacock, give Hinch what he needs, they can hit ignore on Boras' phone calls. They're working out extensions for Alex Bregman and Justin Verlander this past offseason. By my estimation, the Astros have 3 players for whom contract extensions should be under discussion: Carlos Correa, George Springer, and Garrett Cole. They can't sign them all, and while Cole's status as a possible co-8 Verlander intuitively might make him the priority, I think he's going to test the market and could break the bank. If Martin can continue to develop into a real long-term solution, GM Jeff Lunau can approach Cole's free agency as far less of an emergency. I was disappointed mostly that there wasn't as much time as I wanted to be able to get things turned around from a starting perspective. McHugh, I would have liked to have had some more outings to be able to sharpen up and get back to form like it was early in the season, but the baseball decision was made. I think part of it's probably a factor of the success I had in the pen last year and the versatility I can bring down there. But this is a really good baseball team, so I would just reiterate what I've been saying the last 2 years, that being able to be on this team and help this team in any way possible is a privilege. And I'm excited to be able to continue to do that. Obviously, there's disappointment mixed in, but I know the job I have to do and I know what I can do to help the team. Fact of the matter is that this may be the best thing for McHugh. As he heads into free agency this offseason, he was outstanding in the bullpen last season, and I would think that you'd rather be a free agent as a highly functional bullpen piece than you would as a struggling starter. McHugh's last outing on Tuesday night saw him pitch 2 innings with 4 strikeouts. I'm rooting for Colin McHugh. If there's one thing we know about no, can't say his name right now for some reason. He will turn Lona. He will turn over every stone trying to make the Astros a better team. The Astros are believed to be among those teams in the best position to add to the rotation before July 31st. If we can string together a couple good months, L might hold off giving up assets for a rental in the rotation. For its worth, San Francisco Giants starter Madison Bumgarner, a postseason witch, named the teams he must approve a trade to earlier this week. Martin's next start is Saturday night on national television, Fox, 6:15 p.m. in Fenway against the Red Sox, so this point could be completely obsolete come Sunday morning. A takeaway from series at Tigers. Texas Sports Nation. Detroit, in 3 games beneath mostly uninterested, despondent crowds craving anything to cling to as hope for the struggling baseball team. The Astros annihilated the Tigers. The games were not close. Even the 4-run contest that concluded the 3-game series on Wednesday, the results are unsurprising. Detroit is undergoing a massive rebuild, signaled so distinctly by the trade of Justin Verlander to the Astros 2 Augusts ago. Its lineup is a collection of a little-known journeyman young prospects getting exposure in the shell of Miguel Cabrera, a future Hall of Famer who has gone more than 100 at-bats without hitting a home run in Comerica Park. 4/5 of their starting rotation is injured too. This series was never going to approach competitive. The Astros assured that and more. They outscored the Tigers 24-6 and mashed 8 home runs. 16 of their 33 hits garnered extra bases. That was a really good series for us, obviously, said Astros manager AJ Hinch. Perhaps, and the understatement of the year, we're in a good stretch where we're playing. That's funny. We're in a good stretch where we're playing extremely well and tough to beat. Within this series, there were 3 distinct takeaways. First, Josh James is slowly earning back leverage innings. After the Astros used Will Harris in the 7th and Ryan Presley in the 8th during Monday games, James warmed for the 9th inning. The Astros led by only 4 runs when James began warming. They'd used their frontline leverage bullpen in the 2 innings before the decision was curious. Why not go with Roberto Osuna? James Hinch said. The Astros scored 3 times in the 9th to give James leeway. Still, the fact that he warmed in a close situation signals a shift in faith. James was putrid to start the season, but in May has regained what was missing in the first month. His fastball velocities more frequently reached 97 or 98 miles per hour, and his secondary pitches or electing swings and misses. James credits the shift to a more aggressive mindset. No longer is he easing into relief outings as if he were a starter. He struck out 11 men in last 6 innings with just one walk, no runs, have scored. His ERA, once as high as 7.9, now sits at 5.83. Number 2, Jake Marinsnick is demanding more playing time. Marinsnick was always going to play prominently in the series. Okay, the park's fast center field craves a player like him, who can race everything down and make highlight reel catches. If not for being hit by a 96-mile-per-hour fastball in Monday's game, Marinsnick would have started every game. Instead, he started Monday and Tuesday. He finished 4 for 6 with a home run and a triple. His OPS is now up for 9.58. Batting average is .313 for a career .663. OPS player. This is a remarkable surge, however small the sample may be. Marinsnick's whiff rate is down to 12%. It was at 16% last season when he got 84 times in 235 plate appearances. He's fanned only 22 times in 67 at-bats this year. The sample size is far less than the regulars. Still, Marinsnick's numbers far outpace anyone else on the Astros bench. His defense already commanded many late entrances. Should he keep this offensive assault going, some starts are in his future. He's a little bit more toward the middle of the field, Hinch said. The right center field double is good. The left center field homer the other day. The base head putting the ball in play is good. There's much less swing and miss. When he contributes like that, he's going to get to play a little bit more. Hinch loves to spread the designated hitter around. Doing it with Michael Brantley and George Springer becomes easier when Marinsnick is hitting. Tyler White is slipping further down the pecking order. The Tyler White struggling is one thing. That is struggle so profound in the series, one where virtually all of his teammates were killing whatever pitches they faced, is problematic. Hinch acknowledged Wednesday that White's playing time will become more sporadic. An 0 for 8 showing Detroit with 4 strikeouts will make that so. Not hitting subpar pitching is problematic, especially when the Astros are set to now face the Red Sox twice and Cubs within a span of 2 weeks. Don't forget the White Sox. 10 games in a row against the Sox team. 3 games against the Red Sox, 4 games against the White Sox, 3 games against the Red Sox, and then the Cubs. So, the team won't give up on White, but Hinch's comments in the performance of others make it clear he's not a priority. And we're going to end it on Justin Verlander once again, number 35. Verlander, Astros complete sweep of Tigers. Former Detroit Tigers star Justin Verlander struck out 9 batters over 7 innings to lead the Astros to a 5-1 victory over his old club on Wednesday night at Comerica Park. The Astros 29-15 swept the 3-game series and have won 8 in a row and 11 in their last 12. Now to start his fare, Justin Verlander went 7 innings, striking out 9. He only gave up 1 run, a solo home run by Jacoby Jones in the third. Tigers opener Gregory Soto gave up a couple runs in 2 innings before turning things over to Nick Ramirez, who surrendered 1 unearned run in 4 innings. Combined, they registered a quality start. Big moment. This is the what I'm talking about. The Tigers loaded bases with 2 outs in the 5th inning after Josh Harrison tripled and Brandon and Jacoby Jones threw back-to-back walks. Nico Goodrum ripped a liner that was stabbed by Astros second baseman Aledmus Diaz. Well, Diaz. I just hear his last name all the time. I don't think I really heard his first name spoken aloud. I just hear his name Diaz over and over again, so I'm just going to call him Diaz. It would have been a game-tying single. It wasn't. And the Tigers never seriously threatened again. Okay, and, well, that's the series. The Astros swept the Tigers. There was emotion for the Tigers fans and for Verlander, and it was really good for like the majority of the players. This was good. It was good practice for a lot of people, the players. This was just a nice practice, and now we need to get ready for a good team that's actually heating up now. So, well, time to see how well the Astros do against the Red Sox.